Welcome to After the Vows, a podcast from Christ Community Chapel about the challenges that show up in marriage after the honeymoon ends. I'm Joe Coffey, and together with my wife Karen, we will gather in each episode with some friends just to talk about the real issues that happen in every marriage. I hope you'll join us. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of After the Vows. And today's topic is parenting, because children are great, but man, can they complicate marriage. All right, that's going to be our topic. And let me introduce our guests, my lovely wife, Karen.
Hello.
And our good friends, Gene and Stacey DiNardo.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Good to be here.
All right, let me start with this. Give me a story about parenting that was not funny at the time, but is funny now. And I'll go ahead and start since I've had some time to think about it. When we were parenting, I think one of the strategies was to let your child cry it out. Put them to bed and just let them cry.
I remember that one.
Develop great abs.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Jeremy. It was Jeremy's time. And Karen, we were living in a tiny house, 900 square feet. And I turned the TV way up and I was going, this is the night where he's crying it out.
And no cameras, we have no cameras
fancy,
to know what's going on.
And Karen was begging me, let me just go in and let me check, because he'd been crying for like an hour.
Oh.
And I was going, no, you can't check. And I said, okay, I'll check. So I checked.
And you got to check, not
Okay.
Because Jeremy wouldn't be that excited about seeing me.
Okay.
But, so I crack open the door, and Jeremy had pulled himself up. I don't know how old he was, but he
probably 10 months.
They used to have these jungle gyms, like I don't know what they call it, but it's illegal now.
They don't make those anymore.
But he had pulled himself up and he had fallen over, so he was hanging by his stomach.
Oh man!
This is why they don't make those
anymore. And
I
picked him up, and he had this red stripe on it, and he was just whimpering, and I was going, "Sorry, bud, I thought you were faking." Put it down. He fell asleep like right away. So yeah, that was our.
What did you tell Karen when you went back out? Did you?
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah, that I fixed it. I fixed it.
Yeah. Fixed it.
No, I told her. Yeah. So from then on, I lost that battle. Not checking out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I've got a parenting that also happens to include a pet. So we had a dog that got skunked, like badly skunked. So real late at night. So getting a dog cleaned up, it was horrible, smelled awful. The whole house smelled. Cleaned him in our laundry room tub and called it a night. Thought we were good to go. I'd done a great job of getting the dog clean. Send the kids off to school in the morning. And kids are off to school, middle school, I believe. Yeah. And I'm walking into work. You're at your office, and we get an emergency text from Mia, our oldest, that said, "You have to come and get me now. I smell like skunk." I'm literally walking into the sidewalk of the office, and our founding pastor, Jim College, was walking next to me, and I leaned over and I said, this is kind of awkward, but can you smell me real quick? He smelled me and said I was fine, but...
But why did you ask me to do that like last week?
So anyways, yes, don't typically ask people to smell me, but in that occasion, and he said I was okay, but we went, and we're good parents, we went and ran and got the girls, got the story, though, from our daughter, Mia, that she was in homeroom, and she was sitting there with her backpack and coat on, which were in our living room, or in our laundry room, and she happened to have a kid sitting behind her that she'd had a crush on for like 6 years, and he leans over and goes, "Who smells like skunk in here?"
Oh, no.
And she lost it, went to the bathroom, and realized we had not quite cleaned up everything as well as we should had.
So you guys had gone nose deaf.
Nose deaf. Yeah. Whew.
Okay.
It was bad.
It was bad.
That is bad.
So funny now, but at the time we felt really bad for our kids, and middle school's the worst.
Yes. It was
to
right to
endure
go pick
something
them
like
up.
that.
It was character
That
building.
was right.
Character building.
All right, let's get into the topic. Here's the way I'm going to set it up. I remember reading somewhere where it said, if you want to learn to love something, get a dog. If you want to give your heart away and never get it back, have a child. And so one of the things that makes parenting a complication in marriage is that I felt like when we got married, I was giving my heart away to Karen, and she was giving her heart away to me. And then introducing a baby then made that heart divided, and how it gets divided. And then, of course, kids come with a whole different set of dynamics as they grow up. And so let's kind of get into that. Like when you guys first had kids, how did it complicate your relationship? Or do you remember it complicating it at all? And Karen, the same question to you.
Yeah.
I know how it complicated my life.
Well, all of our attention when we were just married was for each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you said that, our heart divided. So I think there's so much that you learn personally, and then together as a couple comes along with the sleep deprivation, comes along with the sacrifice. I mean, honestly, the initial stages of having a child, I feel like it was just survival mode of figuring it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what, yeah.
And time, like your concept of time changes with children, because you once had free time and then almost all of a sudden you're wondering, what did I do with all my time?
We have
Because
no
I have
time.
no time.
No
Right,
time.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no
Yeah.
time for each other, and no time,
Yes.
or it felt that way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, I am a strong maternal person and love being a mom. And so I think there were times when you felt like I was not paying as much attention to you as I was the babies.
And that sounds terrible
Mm-hmm.
for me, but I remember like not even trying to figure out how to even talk to you. Because if you held the baby, you'd be looking down and cooing at the baby when I'm trying to talk. If I held the baby, you wouldn't be looking at me. You'd be looking at the baby.
Oh.
Like I would have to put, like I'm calling it the baby, like they didn't have names. I would just put the baby in another room, and then you'd
Yeah.
worry about them because who knows? They could be hung.
You can't put the
Hanging
baby in
hanging out-
another
yeah,
Hanging
room.
upside
So I
down
ruined that.
from the
Yeah.
belly.
That's not the answer.
So
Yeah.
I also know that I have told couples before that the greatest competition for a woman is the man's job many times, at least traditionally, because he gets a lot of affirmation, his sense of accomplishment at his work. The greatest competition for a man is his own children,
Yeah.
which makes it seem hard. Now, how did you figure that out when your kids, we're going to go through different stages of
Yeah.
parenting with marriage, but when your kids were little, how did you find time for each other? How did you navigate the divided heart kind of?
Yeah, I'm very blessed in that Stacey is not like me. I'm very kind of laid back. Things will kind of happen, and Stacey is very planned ahead of time and structured ahead of time. So she did a really good job early on in our marriage of being purposeful, of planning time
For us?
for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To where I never really, I don't know, I don't think I really felt like
I don't think
I was missing out because of your attention being on one of the kids. I think your structure helped me with that.
Yeah, I don't think early on we probably had a ton of structure in that way, but I do think you were very gracious in not I don't think you felt as much as maybe some other men do that was like the baby was competing for, my attention. And some of that was because of how all in you were as a dad, and you were jumping in to do as much as you could with the girls when they were really little. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think, to be honest, we did have to talk about it, and I had to come to grips with maybe some of the fears that I had of the for the kids, and worries, and just you being able to say, you know what, they're okay, they're sleeping in their bed, let's have some time together. And I think that was helpful for me just to put aside some of the fears that I had. And then, some other easy things would be to take a walk and put the baby in the,
Right.
put one of the kids in the stroller. Or I can remember us going to a drive-in movie. This was, remember, back in the 80s. So drive-in movies were safe then.
Yeah.
And we'd have the kids just in the back of the car, and we could spend time. So I think we would be creative in spending time together.
Yeah, I think one of the things that complicated it with us is that I think my love language is quality time. So I was like craving time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it helped us to have like a date time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any money, so it had to be breakfast.
Right.
So we had a missionary friend who was poorer than we were. She would come over and do her laundry because we had a washer and dryer, and she would watch the kids, and we would go to breakfast. And that was that was really helpful to me. I knew that I was going to spend that time.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this: like, as the kids get older, you're also trying to figure out roles. So actually, even when the kids were young, you're trying to figure out roles.
Mm-hmm.
Who out of the two of you is the disciplinarian? And does it change with small things and big things?
I was tempted to say yes, just to see what you would say, but I'll let you answer first.
Well, I think in day-to-day things, I mean, I did work part-time outside of the home starting when our youngest was like just 2. So very part-time though, but I was still with the girls day-to-day, day in and day out much more because of what your work entailed. So I would say on day-to-day stuff, I definitely was the disciplinarian.
Mm-hmm.
When it came as they got older and bigger things, that's much more, we were very much both involved in discussing what things would look like or what was the best way to approach a challenge that we had. But yeah, and you're the fun one.
Yes.
So let's just say that you're the fun one and I'm not the fun one. So that kind of goes along there with that. Would you?
Now, was that hard to come to grips with?
Yeah.
The fact that nobody really likes you, Stacey?
Yeah, I was going to say, it was not hard for me at all. Being the favorite was hard. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I mean, part of it is who I don't know. I do like to have fun. I think part of it is parenting changes you.
Yeah.
You start to grow into and function in a role that is just what's needed because of the time that you're spending with the kids, and you're there when something happens that is needing to be responded to. So yeah, no, I don't always love that. I don't love going, I'm not seen as the one that's, let's just go have a great time. And
now, did that cause any conflict? Like, were there times where you were thinking,
come on,
that they don't deserve to have a good time right now? I mean, well, that sounds bad, but we're.
Yeah, I think it caused conflict in my failure at times to appear supportive, where I would sit and just kind of watch rather than get involved, which was unfair to Stace, making her feel like she was on an island by herself, being the hammer while I just sat there observing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, did they ever go around you through Gene to try to change?
One of our children did do that, I would think. Don't you think?
Yeah, but only on like little. For the most part, I would say they didn't do that on little piddly things, maybe at times. But
I think generally speaking,
we were fairly unified.
Yeah, we were fairly unified, but I think there was some of, I would say they would know when we wouldn't disagree.
Yeah,
or when we wouldn't agree.
Often my first response would always be, "What'd your mother say? What'd your mother say?"
Right, that's good. Yeah.
Because I know you went there first. What'd your mother say?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about us? What were our roles?
Well, I think like Stacey, I was with the kids during the day. And so I think I did like structure though, and I had some certain kind of values that were important to me. And so in spite of the way it seems, I was able to create some order and discipline.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that it was really important for me to be able to take care of some things myself, just because I didn't want you to always be the hammer, if you will. And so I think for us, like you said, I think it's important to be on the same page.
Yeah.
I think that parents need to have a united front. And if you don't agree on something, to take a pause and find a way to communicate in a compromise. Find a way that is agreeable for both of you.
Yeah, it's probably a good practice. Like we're talking now of kids being in their teens, probably where they come up with something and they ask to do something right then, and you guys need to talk about it. So you end
Yeah.
up having to go, okay, we're going to have a sidebar. You go to your room. We got to talk. Instead of one of you saying yes and one of you saying no at the exact same time,
Right.
and then hashing it out
in front
in
of them.
front of them.
Right.
Because I think
I think we've done
yeah,
both.
Teenagers,
Yeah.
We have-
teenagers,
yeah.
the way dogs can smell fear,
Oh, yeah.
teenagers can smell weakness. Actually,
Mhm.
toddlers can smell weakness.
Mhm.
They're born
True.
with that. So let me ask you this now. What about like your basic idea about discipline? Let's start with toddlers. Like when they had a meltdown or tantrums, it seems like you got to both be on the exact same page, because if they find one bit of weakness, Yeah.
They're in on,
So,
they're down
yeah.
on that.
so how was that?
I don't remember having much conflict over that. I feel like we
No.
were pretty unified.
I think you did a really good job of proactively talking about situations and scenarios before they happened
with the kids or with you?
with me.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I mean, we talked through well in advance of everything from curfews to dating to, before we had to actually deal with it, philosophies on discipline. And that evolved over time, right? Different things worked with.
Yeah, that's for older kids, though. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think, when they were younger, did we have often times where there was any sort of, we have to be on the same page with how we're going to discipline our toddler or things like that?
How about grades?
How were we with grades?
Yeah.
So we have, I would say our mantra, like in the home, we said you needed to work hard, you had to communicate, and you had to be honest.
Yep.
And those were the three things that mattered to us.
Yeah, like we didn't care if you got a A or a C if you were working.
Those things were happening.
Mhm.
And I think, so we cared very much. We would, of course, love for our kids to get straight A's. We just knew we also had different kids that had different strengths in
Right.
different areas, and knew, like, the reality was not that they were going to always achieve a certain grade. So those were the things that we just communicated over and over were what mattered. And freedom came with those things happening. We're seeing you're working hard, you're being honest, you're communicating well. So in the area of school and education in particular. But
I think with us, I put a lot of emphasis on grades. I think, right, more so than you.
Probably, yeah. I think my goal was probably to work hard, do what you need to do. But you came from, and this is where we go almost back to what we talked about last time. You go back to where you were raised.
that's what I was
Right.
going to ask.
And what the values were in the home that you grew up in, and good grades were a value for your parents.
They were.
So that's so interesting, because I think part of my very high grades was very important in my house too. And yet I think I found that
Well, you came from educators. So
I came from educators, and it mattered, and nothing wrong with that. But I do think it caused me then, when we were having our kids, to go, like, it's not just about the grade,
Right.
which is just interesting, because
Yeah.
Right.
You had to shift a little
I
bit.
shifted a little
Yeah.
bit.
But the biggest thing is to somehow get on the same page.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think grades were important, and we have a few examples in which the kids were able to see that, but you also were reasonable, and I think we were able to talk about it. And if, you had a little bit of a heads up that this was a hard class, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it was the best thing about parenting for me is to have you be somebody that I could talk to, that would talk me down off a ledge. Because sometimes I would need you to. I'd say,
Mhm.
you need to tell me. I'm about to go into the room to tell me
Mhm.
what I should do, what I shouldn't do, or what I can do, can't do.
Yeah, and again, it helped because I was an educator too, and so I knew I was in the school,
Right.
so I could see that the kids were doing well, and they were they were successful in other areas. So this was not this was situational.
Yeah. With kids, how did you figure out the hills to die on? Because I remember, like I would walk past one of the girls' rooms, and it would just look like a bomb went off.
Oh yeah.
And I was going, what are we doing? What, and then
Still today.
yeah, Karen would just say, just close the door. Don't even think about it. So we would do that. And then I've been, surprised that both girls are
keep a really nice house.
They keep house.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how much of it is about in the moment I'm making a decision. It's just you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because even I was going to mention, to your point with grades, I wouldn't go on and look because I knew I was not going to be able to handle if I didn't see a certain standard. And yet I knew we had what we decided in our house was going to be the most important. And rooms is the same way. I mean, so I think hills to die on, when the stakes really matter, or when
the consequences are
when
big.
Truthfulness, when some of those integrity things really mattered. And I think those were sometimes more the hills to die on, rather than we were, able to close the door and go, okay, I think when they're independent, they're going to figure out how to not be a mess.
And we would talk to them pretty candidly.
Very candidly.
Is this the kind of person you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the issues, those character issues that I think we were pretty hard on.
Now, do you remember getting into a major fight with each other because of kids? Because of at any stage? Like, I remember the one time when I felt like you and Rachel had talked on the side.
One of the kids?
And the one named Rachel had talked on the side and decided something, and then came to me as like a united front.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world?
That was wrong.
Yeah. And that was not good. And that only happened once.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that goes back to loyalty. So that was a value for you.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem. It's a value.
Yeah.
And I love, while you're thinking about
That's the counsel.
Yeah. While you're thinking of it, let me also affirm your 3 things. I love that. I think a family, parents need to think about what kind of adult they want to have.
That's totally it.
And then look back and what can you do? So for us, some of the values are academic, and so books have always been a big part of our life. But I think for me, the biggest thing was I wanted home to be safe. And so there is no name calling ever. And I that was something that I really was passionate about, because I wanted home to be a place where everybody felt safe and that there wouldn't be surprises, So your example, I think I had gone against kind of making home a safe place because we hadn't talked about it properly.
Yeah.
Okay, now kind of the last question, like, how would you try to help a couple with kids with the whole heart divided? How do you keep the marriage as the priority, your relationship with each other? I know, and at different stages, I know when our kids were toddlers, we would send them out of the room and just say, go, because I wanted to connect with Karen for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, you guys got to go. And they knew this was mom and dad's time, and they would go do something. How did you prioritize? What advice would you give to prioritize at different stages of parenting?
Okay.
Because one of the worst things is that when a couple is starting to have trouble, and let's say the mom, her closer relationship is with her children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I think happens more often than the father having a closer relationship with his children. But that seems like a hard thing.
I mean, I would say we won some and lost some in this. So we could talk about the losses. Let me start with the wins, though. No, I mean, Gene
Good decision.
He started with this, but I do think the one thing we did well was out of the gate, once the kids came, we were going once a year, twice a year, we're getting away. no matter what, and we're going to prioritize that and make sure that that is something that we don't, let go of and negotiate, because you do become, in parenting, you become like, it's hard to find yourselves as a couple.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because you just become mom and dad, and that's the world you're existing
It's urgent.
in.
And whenever you're alone, you're even talking about the kids,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So I would always find like it would take a couple days of being away to like find us again, and so that was something we did well. But I mean, I think there's times, especially in the teen years, that we didn't always keep conflict. Not that you're trying to hide conflict from your kids, but the fact that they would see conflict we were having allowed them to, there were tensions created, or they would know they should go to dad for this, or they should go to mom for this. So that's not a great thing. I mean, I think there's times if you navigating when you have conflict or different things around the kids, and having a way to handle that is not, that they're not going to see, or that they're you can talk about them appropriately with. But I don't know if you've nothing.
I think you.
Okay, I don't know.
Karen,
it's a
what's the
tricky
way
one though.
that what advice would you give to a couple to try to stay connected?
Well, I think the first thing would be making time, carving out time, whatever that looked like, whether it was 10 minutes on the couch or having somebody babysit and going out for breakfast or lunch. Going away once a year, I think, is a great idea. But I think talking about it and making sure that the other person, do you feel like we're getting enough time together? Making sure you understand how the other person feels.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could say to me, do you feel like I'm supporting you so that you have some, extra time that we can, there are different ways you can both share what your needs are and the other can fill it. I think the united front is so important. Yeah. And I think that creates such a security for kids. And if there isn't that united front, then the chaos just rises.
Yeah, and I think the kids can act like they want to divide and conquer, but it's the worst thing for them.
Exactly.
As well as
exactly.
them, so.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me during this episode. It's been great. Hey, thanks for listening to After the Vows. We really hope this conversation encouraged you. It has given you something to talk about with your spouse. But maybe more than anything, just reminded you that you're not alone. If you want to keep growing in your marriage, check out more episodes, sermons. There is other helpful content on the CCC app or on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.